was not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you what the play is, because I know what the play is. She's going to play this whole, like, I've been trying with Edmond and things like that. And then the table's going to turn, and then you go see her in her own way punching down on Edmond. And then all of a sudden, people already saying it now. I'm not one of the ones saying it, right? With the whole bullying thing. People say, oh my goodness, she's bullying Edmond and things like that because, you know, because he's going to get the sympathy edit and things of that nature, which I do not agree with. He's a grown man and he should be accountable for his actions. But the table's going to turn, and then she's going to come out at the reunion and basically be surprised at the guy that she's been engaged to this whole time. And you can't play that play with us because I know that you're in it for something more than being married to Edmond. You're not even in it to be married to Edmond. You're just trying to find any way in to the whole Love is Blind universe, Netflix universe, to basically, you know what, build your career. And I have no problem with that, but you are not going to fool my wife, and you definitely ain't fooling me about you're really thinking about marrying the guy like Edmond. It's not even close. That's when it becomes exploitation for me, because I believe that you already know you're not going to marry this guy. Yeah. So now you're giving him things and telling him things about himself to change, or telling him things that he never showed up in the relationship. Oh, why don't you never do this? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. He was your sensitive baby just a couple episodes ago, and now you want him to show up as a man? He never showed up as a man in the relationship. So why you have been showing up as a maternal figure in this relationship the whole time, as Mama KB the whole time. And now that he did something wrong, how come you're not being Mama KB no more? Now you want to be a fiance KB? Stop it, man. You're not fooling me.
Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love is Blind, Season 9, Episode 11.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We just hit 10,000 subscribers, and I said we're going to list 10 content creators that you should follow and subscribe to celebrate our 10,000 subscribers. I think you're going to like this next one, Blair, because you actually put me on to them.
Okay.
You actually put me on to them. I want y'all to go and follow Joe and Czar.
Yes, I love
Joe and Czar. When Blair, you put me on to them, and you know what? I love people who do content creation together that are married. I love their content. I think they are both funny. Shout out to them for having a kid. Hopefully everything is well with y'all. And go show love to them. Subscribe to them, all 10,000 of y'all. You ready to walk us through this episode?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Jordan and Megan do a tarot reading, and they are soulmates. Madison is crying on the phone with someone saying that Joe left. He's gone. After the tux fitting, he had a breakdown. He felt detached, and he told her she was not his person. If they go to the altar, he would tell her no. So we see Joe walk into the apartment, and she asks him, why didn't we talk about the wedding dress shop? Why didn't we talk before the wedding dress shopping? Yeah. He talks about how he just had a rough time at the fitting. He wanted to keep going, but he came to a point where he just knew. And she asked him what is missing. He doesn't have the answers. It's just not right. She thinks it's odd that this is happening after the singles and mixing with the couples. And he tells her he's not trying to get to know nobody else. It's not that. So she is asking him, so, you know, we're never going to sleep together, cuddle anymore. That sucks. Are you going to be okay with the thought of me being with another guy? And he says that he just doesn't really think about those things. And now she's wondering, maybe it was the pressure of the experiment. If we would have dated on the real world, maybe in the real world, then maybe things would have been different. And he tells her it's not that. Honestly, we lasted a lot longer in this experience than in the real world, because I wouldn't have gotten to know you on a deeper level in the real world.
Ouch.
So her heart is breaking. She doesn't think he cares because he's not coming to hug her. And he is just looking at her.
Yeah, he is.
So she is, Joe at this point feels relieved. He would have been miserable, and he wants to have a good life with someone that he wants to be with every day. Yeah. He is giving her some type of a hug on his way out the door.
He tried.
And she thanks him for being a part of her journey. And they hug it out with her sniffling and crying on his shoulder.
What is your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that Joe finally just came out with it. I think he had been stuffing it down and trying to stifle it this whole time. Yeah. But it was coming out in many different ways. And I think I'm happy that he finally just put it out there that this just is not it's just not it. Yeah. I do wish that he would have told her, instead of the same day as her trying on wedding dresses, he's over here breaking it to her that it's not her. Like, I think that is kind of cruel. along with him sleeping with her when he wasn't feeling her and all that different type of stuff. I think all that is cruel too. I think
maybe
so. So I really am happy that finally it came out and Madison can piece her little heart up together and move on from Joe, because he was never that guy. He was never a rock for her. He was never somebody that she could really lean and depend on. He was literally just there. So
and there is kind of pushing it. Sometimes
he was just in the room,
because remember he got so drunk that he left the party to go in the room. So he wasn't there. Do you think that Joe was at least trying to make it to the altar, at least trying to give like Madison an equal shot of hoping that he could fall in love with her deeply?
No.
Really?
I think that he knew that she wasn't it, but he was trying to get to the altar just to get to the end of the destination.
Basically, okay.
To say, okay, I made it here. But I don't think throughout the process he was giving her a shot to continue to build the relationship. I think he was just going along to get along until the show was over.
Okay. I think from the time he laid eyes on her, I think the wall's been closing in on him. Slowly but surely, right? To the point where, remember that conversation, he was like, you don't have no reservations? The room was getting too hot for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think what finally did it for him was talking to her parents, talking to her family, right? I think he realized, and truth be told, I think that caretaker part is very important. I think he realized that this is a lot. I'm already finding it hard to find any attraction to her. And Madison's not an ugly girl by any means. And Joe is not like the best looking guy in the world either. You get what I'm saying? To me, I'm like, y'all are kind of on the same level. But, you know, to each his own, right? I think that conversation, when it came down to the parents, I think he already had in his mind that he was going to say no at the altar. But after having that conversation with the parents, especially that story that he shared about how he was in a 5-year relationship and he couldn't go through with it, I think he thought, like, you know what, I can't say no at the altar, because that would be more embarrassing. That would be more harsh, in my opinion. I even see in this situation here, while he's trying to break up with her and she want to know why, and she want to know why, and we know why, in the sense of he don't find any attraction. He's even hinting at the whole point of, truth be told, if we was out in the real world, I wouldn't even really talk to you.
Yeah.
Like,
and it still didn't click.
And it's still not clicking to her. And I actually applaud Joe for not just saying flat out, I'm not attracted to you. Like, I think there is something to, even though you may not be attracted to someone, or you may not like someone to that level, I do think you have to handle them with care. And this was going to be a hard conversation nevertheless. Her heart was going to get broken nevertheless, because in this arena, it's not about love only, it's about competition. And Madison wanted to be one of the ones that didn't get left. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the whole Nick and Annie thing, compared to the whole Patrick and Casey thing. She wanted to be one of the ones that make it to the end and be married. But Joe needed to do this, not only because he wasn't attracted to her, but being with Madison, that holds a bigger burden than just being a husband. You have to be a potential caretaker, and he needed to basically break it off with this woman.
Yeah, so we get to KB and Edmond going on the snowmobile.
Pay attention, y'all.
They are, finish up their ride. KB goes to get some hot chocolate. She steps down to where he's at and says, thanks for helping me down, because he didn't reach out his hand to help her down.
Yep.
KB brings up the issue that they are having. So she felt like he was being dismissive in the car in front of the cameras. He's being all cheesy, wanting to be all over her. And in the car, essentially, he learned that the bachelor party was going to be Western themed. I guess he wasn't happy about it. She was trying to chime in or be part of the conversation, and he was being dismissive towards her.
Okay.
He didn't apologize. He didn't take accountability, and she's tired and doesn't know how to communicate with him. She can't force him to want to grow up. The guy in the pods and the guy on the first couple of days in Mexico is who she fell in love with.
Stop right there.
Yes.
Those are not two different guys.
It's the same dude.
It's literally the same guy. It's literally the same guy.
Yeah.
And I would actually say you probably have a more mature version, this version, compared to the guy that was kissing the floor.
Yeah.
In the pods.
Yeah. I want to continue talking about this section because we got to go slow. We got to go section by section with this
I'm
one.
speeding right now. My fault.
So, no, you're doing good. I'm glad you stopped me there because she talks about how she can't force him to want to grow up. So you can see he's being childlike and childish. So that means you see it.
You saw it.
and that's what gets me about KB is that she is willing to stay in the situation and be frustrated instead of realizing and seeing the person that's in front of her is not where she needs him to be.
You're right.
And I don't consider her being patient. I really don't consider this patience. I don't. Maybe she is being patient with not getting upset with him the times before, but I do believe that if you're not addressing the fact that he's not basically mature enough for their relationship, you're kind of missing the real root issue of y'all's relationship. You're going at each of these isolated events and not realizing that, like, just character and maturity wise, he isn't there. You get what I'm saying? But any thoughts before we move on?
The problem with KB is she thinks that she's the smartest one in the room, right? She think we're dumb, as in the ones that review the show, the ones who subscribe to the show and watch the show. She think we're all dumb and she's smart. And this is what I mean by that. By trying to basically paint Edmond as if he was a different guy in the pods to a different guy than he is right now, you're trying to insult our intelligence. He's the same person. The same cons and pros that you saw with him in the pods was the same pros and cons he have now, right? Literally, it's the same, right? Or even at the honeymoon. You get what I'm saying? So she's trying to make it seem like he just woke up and basically he woke up as a total different guy, and basically now she is basically trying to put forth effort and patience and things like that, to where we kind of see it as like, oh, this kind of fake effort. It's fake patience, because now you are expecting something out of someone who you knew from the beginning did not have those capabilities. Yeah. Especially with you working in social work. You get what I'm saying? So, like, that's why it's fake patience. It's fake work. It's almost like a perfect example that I could think of. It's almost like someone who wants to be in a relationship, and they say they want to be in a healthy relationship and things like that, but they keep picking like toxic guys on purpose. But they do that so they won't show up, so they don't have to show up as their best self. So they be like, man, how come this guy keep cheating on me? Well, you keep picking these type of guys. You keep going around these type of social circles and things like that, and you're trying to make it seem like, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, to where we're kind of looking at Edmond and we're like, Edmond obviously is not the guy that shown at any point that he is stable enough to even look after himself. I understand you didn't see him talk about eating his boogers. I understand that you did not see him kiss the floor, but you see how he ran. You see how he talked. You see how he can't regulate his emotions. So you see that he can't regulate his own emotions, but yet criticize him when he can't regulate yours. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost as if you're trying to play in our face.
Or even the fact that she's talking about, okay, I'm going to continue with the scene.
Go ahead.
So she can't get over things if he would own it and be apologetic. Yeah. He doesn't really know what he did wrong. He apologizes for anything he might have done wrong to her. He was in a good mood with the snowmobile when he saw it. And he's not in a good mood now because her feelings are everything and it's messing up his feelings.
It's messing up my vibe.
KB says, well, you told me you didn't want to talk to me when we got out the car. And she's getting frustrated. I think that's where she called him no, that's not where she did it. But anyway, Edmond was excited. It was his first time on a snowmobile. He said that he hasn't done anything wrong to her. And if he did something wrong, he wouldn't have been on there on the snowmobile. Like, you wouldn't have hung out with me today, essentially, if I really did something wrong to you. Yeah. So that's why it's not clicking to him. Like, what really is your issue? And she says that she's just been swallowing it. Well, he tells her, well, you can stop doing that. Okay. If he doesn't think he's in the wrong, he's not going to apologize for something. So they both are talking about how they're cutting each other off. And she tells him to stop effing talking to me, B. Yeah. And says that you know how to push my buttons. You keep cutting me off. And Edmond ends up walking away.
Now, here's the thing about it. She calls him the B word, right? Here's the thing about it. I want to start at the beginning of where it starts off at, where the Bachelor theme is going to be Western. Yeah. And he felt some type of way about it, right? And she asserted herself how it was relayed to us through TV. She inserted herself in his frustration. I want to know why.
And somehow at the end of it, it became a issue of, oh, he's disrespecting me. And that parallels to the whole situation with Annie and Nick and Edmond, when him talking to them and making a fly off the wall comment to where she really didn't even hear what the comment was and pushed the issue until they actually had another big issue. So I'm just kind of like, it seems like you're inserting yourself to be offended.
Yes.
You know.
So I don't understand why you are asserting yourself in his frustration, especially if you're not the cause of it. If the theme is Western, right, and he don't want to have another Western theme, he want to rollerblade or whatever he wants to do. Why are you asserting yourself in that, right? But the reason why you asserting yourself is because your mama bear.
She's the rock.
Your mother goose.
Yes.
Right? And you over here trying to play both sides of the fence. Basically, you want to be cared for while at the same time you are the one that basically be like, remember, we admire and we don't compare. Like why every time you talk to this guy, it's always like in this condescending tone.
Yeah.
Even throughout this time, you're calling him sweetheart, all these pet names that I told you that like I hate. Like you calling him sweetheart, but you're not calling him a sweetheart in an endearing way.
Yeah.
You're calling him a sweetheart to basically I'm trying to get down to your level. Okay, sweetie, dude, you get what I'm saying? Like basically like that. So that's why it's like y'all cutting each other off. He don't like being cut off from the moment that he was massaging your feet in the bed during the honeymoon, where y'all was talking about the guys that you slept with one night compared to the guys you slept with in 9 months and things like that. And y'all both are disrespecting each other when it comes to cutting each other off, right? But my whole point about it is you are the one. I'm not going to judge Edmond for acting like Edmond. Edmond has shown himself to basically not be able to regulate his emotions, to not really be there with us, right? So I'm gonna put
not say the right things,
exactly.
to be offensive, to and I don't think it's an excuse for him or the way that he acts, but I think it's an explanation for KB to pick up her bags and get her car keys and realize this isn't the man that when she's listing out all the qualities, he's not that person.
But here's my problem with that statement with what you just said, Blair.
Yeah,
is that it didn't take this moment for her to have a revelation that this wasn't a guy that she didn't want to be with. She knew from the past that he was never the guy that she wanted to be with. That's why she's scamming. There's no way she looked at him. There's no way she heard him from behind the wall and went like, you know what? You are the guy. There's no way she saw how he ran off. There's no way she saw how he can't regulate his emotions, because in that moment it was like, oh, my sister's baby. You even gave a hypothetical to where you questioning his masculinity or basically challenging it, talking about if somebody was to grab me, what are you going to do? And he's basically saying, I'm going to de-escalate the situation. I'm going to walk away. And that wasn't good enough for you. Edmond, time again, has never been good enough for you. So this is not a new revelation that KB is just finding out. This is something that she knew from day one.
Yeah.
Day two, at least. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, she's playing us. That's why it's kind of hard to look at Edmond and be like, we know your capabilities.
And I think for her, when she's talking about how he can be one way on camera and one way off camera, I think there could be some truth to that.
I think there's 100% truth to that.
But I also think that Edmond has showed himself to not have emotional regulation.
Yes.
And I think that 1 minute he could be upset, and then the next minute he can be excited to get on a snowmobile. I think that those are things that he's kind of shown himself to be capable of being all over the place, just like we seen his mom be all over the place in the 3 minutes we saw her.
Oh,
so
100%. 100%.
So I hear KB, and I get, where some people think that she's being extremely patient with him, and oh my gosh, she hit her breaking point.
It wasn't.
No, she knew very early on that the way that he operates is not the way that she wants to have a relationship operate. Of course. Because he's not able to meet her in those places, it's starting to look like you're punching down on him.
No, she is punching down on him. And I said it a couple videos ago. Make sure y'all check out that deep dive. I told y'all exactly what's going to happen. I said, KB, the more you stay in here, that Metro, that whole commercial, your whole sponsors, whatever you think is going to happen, it's going to slowly slip out your hand, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to end up punching down, and now he's going to get the sympathy edit. Now we know his capabilities, and now you calling him the B word. Yeah. Now it felt real bad watching that. Yeah. Because he just sitting there and he looks like a child. He looks like,
he really doesn't, half the time he really doesn't know what he's doing wrong. And I think she thinks that he's lying, or he doesn't believe it, or whatever the case may be. Like, he doesn't know what you're talking about. Even the first time he was apologizing for the other thing, he didn't know what he was apologizing for. So
my whole idea is that you calling him out your name. I mean, you're calling him out his name, right? guess what? At the end of the day, no one is going to look at Edmond and be like, you know what, Edmond, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong. In other words, people just going to say Edmond acted like Edmond. And that's what we was trying to tell you from the deep dive, a couple deep dives ago, is that, hey, KB, the reason why, let's say producers push Edmond on her, right? Let's just go with that scenario. It's up to you, KB, to basically pack your bags and say, I will not be part of this. Because y'all not going to make me look crazy on TV.
Yeah.
Y'all not going to have me calling this man who eat his boogers the B word.
Yeah.
That now it's easy to paint you as someone who can't regulate. Like, somebody got to regulate their emotions.
And I'll say this. Say it is an act. Say it is an act. We'll say, for conversation's sake, the way he's been acting and everything he's been putting on, so to speak. So you want to continue to deal with somebody who's acting and putting on for the cameras? For what? So it all the way around is looking like it's crazy that you sticking around
for clout.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard. It doesn't seem like a genuine crash out. It's felt, that's what it's coming off to me. It
like
felt,
you're messing up my gig.
No, here's the thing about it. It felt like KB was going to do this from the time we saw them link up together. I think a lot of us in the comments can agree that, hey, we're going to see KB start being mean to this boy.
Yeah.
Because that was the only route to take if you're going to decide to stay there.
And I guess for me, it's just like, you're in a situation to where, okay, say she was frustrated and she hit her limit. Leave.
Walk away.
It doesn't need to be I hit my frustration, so now I'm cussing him out, calling him out of his name, and X, Y, and Z, and all this type of stuff. You're frustrated. This ain't gonna work.
And truth be told, dude, you know what this looks like? We already know what's wrong with Edmond. This look like there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
Like the same way as everybody got their red flags, KB, your red flags was showing, and it was bright red in this scene right here.
Now we move on to Allie and her mom.
Yeah.
Apparently, Allie and one of her sisters aren't on good terms. The mom tried to talk to the sister in supporting Allie, but the sister is very stubborn, and we don't know if she's coming to the wedding.
Okay.
Anton does meet Allie's mom, and the mom tells him not to forget important dates, don't choose your friends over your spouse. Make sure you guys go places together, and if you are the one to go to work, then Allie needs to be at home washing clothes, doing the dishes, and she does not agree with that. But the mom does support their relationship as long as they love each other.
Allie, where the hell you come from then? If your mother is talking about basically being domesticated, basically being home and washing dishes and doing all this other stuff, where did you get the example that you shouldn't be doing that? Now, if I was Anton,
social media.
I wouldn't marry this girl because now this shows that if she was raised in a home to where she saw that, I'm like, oh, you're trying to do this for clout. You're not really trying to do this for love, because like I never heard you talk about washing clothes. So that's why I'm 100% off of Anton and Allie, 100%.
Jordan and Megan go to Kemosabe to get their hats. If you guys are reality TV watchers, we have been to Kemosabe a few times on our TVs.
Have we?
Yeah, Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I never watched Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay. So we see them, get their hats, their custom hats. Very cool experience. She looked at another house and it wasn't the one. And Jordan tells her, we'll know when we see the right house. And I think I'll be there when it happens. That was a little comment, but it was a big statement to me.
Okay.
Because yes, she's going around looking at houses by herself. She's talking about how it's in a good school district, but it's a weird layout. This is a place where Jordan will be having his child. So with that being a place that he's having his child, then he does need to be there when you're looking at houses and making decisions. But I think it's one of those things to where she's probably going to be putting up most of the money because she doesn't want to live in a $300,000 house. She wants to live in a $2 million house. Yeah. And I think that Jordan wasn't too keen on the fact that she would possibly be the one to hold the weight in making this decision instead of him. Yeah. So,
but that statement confuses me 100% because why we talk about school districts? This is what I mean. Is it close to where the mother lives? Because what if, let's say, and I'm just trying to draw another I'm just trying to draw an hypothetical here. Why is school districts? I understand that it's in a school district. That's a plus. But if the boy is primarily staying over with the mom, why does that matter to where they live?
Well, they talked about in the pods about possibly changing custody agreement depending on how Jordan could communicate with the mother.
Okay.
So they did have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I was the mother, I would say, hell no, I don't know who this lady is. Like, I understand, like, you know, this could be a mature conversation about, like, you know, we go switch, like, basically, potentially, I will have custody. But the minute you sign up for Love is Blind and you bringing a stranger into the house to where we don't know, yeah, that conversation's off the table. I would not do that.
So apparently she is into home numerology, where you put the numbers of your address together and they mean different spiritual things.
Yeah.
It's not something that's going to make or break the house that she decides to buy, but it is something that she takes into consideration. Jordan thinks it's a whole bunch of woo-woo stuff.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So they talk about how they agreed on no color for his tux, but he ended up choosing a tux with color, and he tells her it'll be fine. You'll like it.
When they say no color, like, what do they mean? Like, basically
Black
just
and white.
like plain? Okay.
Yeah. And so by that, I mean, Jordan definitely, like he was saying, like, look, it's my wedding too. And I think that in this relationship with Megan, because she holds a lot of the financial stability, then it could be an unstable kind of power dynamic when it comes to what does Jordan have a say in.
Yeah.
And even though it was a small thing of the tux, I think he wants to make it clear that, not to say that she's not running things, but he has a say in what happens and what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So.
Let him have it.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those things to where if you're paying for the house and choosing where we go live and things like that, and I understand that a wedding is a big deal to a lot of women. Y'all dream of that day and things of that nature. Let him have it. You get what I'm saying? He said it's gonna be good. He says burgundy. It's not gonna be bad. I do think it is some type of way of trying to tug a war, some power away from her, though. Yes.
So they start talking about most favorite and least favorite things, and she has liked seeing him be a good dad. Least favorite is that she feeds off his energy. So if he's not very talkative, not in a very social mood, then she's not going to be talking to him, and he doesn't share much about his work life. He doesn't want to bore her about that, but she feels like that's a part of him that she wants to learn about. So he thinks that they can just sit and stare at each other sometimes. They don't need to be chatting it up all day, every day.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to bore you at work.
Yeah.
She's like, you're not going to bore me. Well,
Yeah.
okay, we'll see.
Yeah. So we move on to KB and Edmond. Edmond comes home with flowers. He apologizes for ignoring her in the car and telling the person driving to talk to him instead.
Well, that's one way to do it.
That was very rude, Edmond. He doesn't want to lose her. He apologizes for minimizing her emotions, and he wants to make up for it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to give it to you guys this way, because I think that in this situation, you could look at Edmond and say, oh, he gets it. He apologized for the things. He took accountability, and he's a lot calmer than he's appeared to be. So maybe that other stuff is an act. And the way that I see it is that KB gave him the words to use. So he used the words that she told him to use.
Yeah.
And do I think that he means it because he doesn't want her to leave him? He doesn't want to be abandoned. I think that's what he's getting at. But I don't necessarily know if they have another disagreement, if he can pinpoint the issue and apologize for those things. Every single time she's telling him what she needs him to apologize for. Yeah. It's like he can't really meet her where she's at.
There would never be a day that I look at Edmond and say he gets it on anything. Like even when he came with the flowers and the apology, it felt very rehearsed to me. It didn't feel like he knew what he was apologizing for. And I will never give Edmond credit of getting it. Like, he just don't get it. You get what I'm saying? But I don't expect him to get it either. You know?
So KB talks about how there was a moment she wanted to throw her ring off the mountain, and she doesn't know if she has anything else to give. He believes that she is changing him to be a better man, and KB says, you know what? This gave her hope. The apology and the flowers. This is a man. This is what she needs. He didn't get on his phone. He didn't go sit on the couch and watch TV. He came in and he addressed the issue. So she is learning how to be patient by being with him. She's not the woman to cuss somebody out, and she apologizes for cursing at him during their last argument. And she believes that he is changing her for the better as well. And I'm not going to make her out to be a villain in this situation.
No.
I think that for KB, I think in this situation, how do I say it? When we were introduced to her, we were told that she ignores red flags.
Yeah.
So I think this could be part of how she is, in the fact that she is ignoring red flags and maybe thinking that she can milk the situation longer because he is acting right. But the thing is that in a relationship, somebody's not going to act right all the time.
Okay.
And if you're going to get frustrated to the point that you feel like you have to react that type of way, then clearly you and that person don't have a great way of communicating, and it might not be best to continue in the relationship. And that's just how I feel about it. And I know that people aren't going to be perfect in their relationships all the time, but I think you're frustrated with who he is as a person and not just what he does. Like, he can't help but be who he is. And it's not, and I'm not saying that to excuse it. I'm saying that she should find the person who is going to meet her where she's at.
Here's the thing about it. When it comes to KB, I'm not going to paint her as a villain either. I do believe that she is sorry for calling him out his name and things like that. She said she's sorry. I have to take her word for it. You get what I'm saying? So I'm never going to come on here and say she's a villain. I'm just going to say what I've been saying. She's a liar. Like she's a liar. She's over here talking about he changed her for the better. Please list the ways and list them slowly for me so I can understand. What are some of the ways that he changed you for the better when you basically been the foundation, the rock of this whole relationship? I'm not going to sit up here and give a recap because Edmond did the bare minimum, and that's bringing flowers and saying sorry in 2 sentences. And then for you to be like, you know what, you're changing me for the better. You know what, you're a man. That's what a man does. He comes in and he addressed the issue, and you know what, a man don't get on the phone and a man address the elephant in the room. You're a man. It's all like condescending in a way. It's almost as if a pimp is talking. You get what I'm saying? It's not like a partner is talking. No one talks to someone that they are attracted to in the way that KB been talking to Edmond. It's like she's coaching this guy.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I will never get on here and say KB is a villain and things like that. She is my sister from another mister, but at the end of the day, my sister's also a liar, right? And you cannot say anything to me, and you cannot say anything to us to convince us that you are not here for the goal after Love is Blind. And that is basically clout to grow your social status and things of that nature. And Edmond is just the vehicle that you're using, or basically the vehicle that you was basically stuck in to get to the final destination. You don't love that guy, and you ain't learning nothing from that guy. Sorry.
Allie and Anton are looking forward to the wedding. They talk about how it's not good to give up quickly in relationships, and he believes that you'll never find a perfect person. You both just have to continue to put in effort. Allie thinks that she stuck around in relationships before to where she figured she could compromise with the person, but there's a thin line between compromising and pouring your time and effort into something that won't work. So that sounds like it's not compromise then. It sounds like you're pouring into somebody who's not giving you anything in return. So I think that true compromise is something that makes relationships work. But I think that whatever Allie was doing before, calling it compromise doesn't make it real compromise.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I think Anton is starting to feel that this is not going to work.
Yeah,
I think he's starting to feel like, I think even after you meet, because at the end of the day, once the parents go and they go back home or they go back to their hotels, you still got to live with this person and deal with this person. And you get to see who they are like when everybody else is not around. And I think at the end of the day, he may be trying to convince himself like, you know what, no one's perfect, but she's not even trying to like meet like a standard. You get what I'm saying? She just want to be alive and functioning. You get what I'm saying?
So KB and Edmond go skating, and they seem to have a fun time. We move on to Megan and Jordan.
Stop right there. Come on. There's more that happened in that scene. Okay. Like number one, why are they in the park? Why are they in the park? I understand that like what you see also help with the context of what's going on. The reason why you in the park or he's in the park, she's sitting down watching him skate. What image do you see from that?
A mother watching her kid play
in the park.
Yeah,
there are skating rinks that adults go to that skate, and I understand maybe production don't want to pay to rent out a skating rink to where people get skating and things like that. But the image of him basically, look what I can do, while she's sitting down and she's like, "Oh, you're really good at this." Oh, look. Oh, yeah. I love seeing Edmond skating. You know, it shows he's really passionate about this. It did not look like, eventually, even after the fact, when she got up and she started skating with him and then he's basically showing her how to skate, it did not look like two people who are basically in it that are attracted to each other skating. it looked like mama watching little boy skate. That's the image that I got. And I don't see the whole idea that he's smelling her feet and things like that and think this guy is normal.
Yeah.
Like you have the signs, KB. You can't fool me.
So Megan and Jordan, they are packing to move out of the apartment. So she's finding it hard to get conversation out of him. She wants more stimulation than one word answers, and he doesn't really know what to say.
Yeah.
They've been doing things throughout the day, but the conversation has been next to nothing. And he tells her the way that she approaches him in these conversations can be abrasive, and she could be a bit more compassionate about his situation.
Yeah.
So apparently he's tired a lot. And he's told her that he's tired, and she has told him, I'm tired too. And she doesn't, think that it's great to hear that. It sounds like an excuse to her.
Yeah.
And Jordan tells her it's not an excuse. We may be in the same boat, because she said we're in the same boat because we're both tired, but your boat is way bigger. He doesn't want to project his daily stresses onto her, but Megan wants to learn what his day-to-day is. What are you doing at work?
Yeah.
He sometimes just wants to sit at home, watch movies, and be quiet. And she talks about how she fell in love with him in the pods because of his jokes and the conversations was easy. And he tells her this is not the pods. He has, a goal of eventually not having to exert himself so much at work the way that he does, but he wants to not have to have abrasive conversations after work. He doesn't think that she really hears him when he says he's tired, and he doesn't feel like she's listening to him. He needs her to be his backbone and not to make him more tired.
Yeah.
So she apologizes for getting on him, but before they say I do, if you're always tired, that's fine. But she gets his job as taxing and that he always has Luca, so she's understanding those things.
Yeah.
He thinks that maybe he needs more time to recharge, and he talks about how he talks to people 10 hours a day at work.
That's fair.
And she feels like she's constantly on the go, either playing tennis, going to LA, hanging out with friends in Aspen. And she would like Jordan to join her sometimes. And he tells her that's just not how life is when you have kids. Like, you probably have means to get a nanny, but I want to raise my child. And he just lives a slower life. So she worked hard to have fun, to be flexible, and to do whatever she wants. And she doesn't think their marriage should be a complete lifestyle overhaul for her. And she wants him to court her a little bit. She doesn't even really know what he likes to do. And he tells her that you didn't fall in love with me for my hobbies. I could do your hobbies, but I don't have the time. You said you don't want this to be about money, but all those crazy rich guys were able to do those things with you, but you didn't pick them. So
it's possible for two people to be right, but they are right in their own perspective conversations, right? For the conversation that we seen, they're talking to each other, but they're not talking to the issue that is at hand, right? So let's go basically issue by issue by issue by issue by issue, right? Let's start with Jordan, you're tired, right? And Megan's whole point is you come home and you're basically a mummy. Like, you're not saying anything. You're here, but you're not involved in the house. Yeah. And I'm feeding off the energy that you're giving me. It's kind of hard to have a conversation with someone if you're giving me one word answers and things like that. And even in his response while she's explaining to him is one word answers. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But Jordan's response or his request to her was just as valid as her request. He's like, whenever I say I'm tired, I kind of don't want to hear basically that's an excuse. I don't want that to be dismissed. Right. Even when she was like, look, I'm tired too, but that's an excuse. He said that's abrasive. I want you to come more compassionate, right? Yeah. With more compassion. I want you to basically see my point and not basically criticize it and basically force me to talk. Right. That right there, I think they should have put a bow on that part of the conversation.
Yeah, because that was one section. And if I can add to that, I think that when you work all day, or somebody works all day, you can be very tired of giving yourself to everybody throughout the day. Yes. You do still have to leave a bit of yourself for your partner, for your children, for your home, because your family is the part in the piece that you want to be there throughout everything, whether the job comes or goes. So I do think that there's a piece of Jordan to where that might be a learning curve of learning the effort that he needs to put into his household when he comes off a long shift, because you don't get to go to work and come home and not interact with anybody.
Facts.
That's just not how you create and maintain a good relationship with your family.
And guess what? And that leads me to the next point, because I like how they conflict. I like how they have had a conflict and a resolve with the whole where she apologized.
Yeah.
And right, he brought up an issue and she apologized. So that's why I said y'all should put a bow on that, right? But what you just said is 100%. Because he's trying to teach her or trying to show her, like, basically, like, I understand you have all this free time and things like that, but flying to Paris with a 5-year-old is a chore.
Right.
Like, basically, you're not going to have the flexibility that you had before you got with me because of I have a child. But Jordan, the same could be said for you. The same way as you felt like you could show up any type of way, you could come home and just sit in front of TV and not say anything and show up any type of way. That has to change, because guess what? You have a partner.
Right.
You have a wife now.
Yeah.
So now so the same way as she have to change her expectations, and the same way as you feel like she have to change her standards in that way, you have to change your standards, because you're no longer a single guy.
And that's my thing when it comes to Megan, is that you're not living this single, free, rich lifestyle by yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you do have to take into consideration that you're dating somebody who works 10-hour days and is exhausted. And you might have those days to where he gives some of himself when he comes home, and some days he might just be spent and he needs to take a shower, eat, and go to sleep. And it's just recognizing that the Jordan that you saw when he wasn't at work, when he was on vacation and drinking and whooping it up with Joe, is not the same Jordan you're going to see on a day-to-day. And I think he can give a little, but she also needs to give a little bit.
And now Jordan, what's going on is now you're starting to project. Now the conversation shifts to a conversation of reality to now a conversation of projection, to where she said, like, look, we're in the same boat here, basically talk about major changes and things like that. But then he projects and saying, well, your boat bigger than mine. So just because we're maybe going through changes, you may be well equipped to deal with your change because you got a bigger boat. And I'm like, now we got to talk about the issue. The issue is that you feel in some ways inept in the relationship. You don't want to talk about your work because you feel like it's not worth talking about. You get what I'm saying? No matter if it's 10 hours and things like that. I think he works in service, right? But you feel like it's not worth talking about, even though she's asking, can we talk about it? You don't want to hear about that. I don't want to bore you. She did not say what you did is boring.
Yeah.
You're now projecting because you looking at
I was thinking to myself, like, does he work at Lumen?
What's Lumen?
Oh, that's Severance. Like, maybe he doesn't rember what happened at work.
No,
yeah,
like
it's a joke.
Like,
for the Severance people.
It went over my head, right? So,
sorry.
So now you saying what you're doing or your lifestyle is boring compared to, like, you know what? Like, I just can't get up and play golf and get up and play tennis and just hang out with my friends and go to Aspen all day. Whoa, what's up with all this projection?
Yeah.
Who said that this will be my life once we get married and things like that? I'm just telling you what I like to do, and I don't even know what you like to do. But guess what? That's both of y'all fault, because y'all kept including Luca in every conversation. You kept including that dead father in every conversation and things like that, and you kept including diabetes in every conversation. And vasectomies and all that stuff, instead of actually talking to each other about each other.
Yeah.
And now y'all don't even know each other. The only thing that you know is that she got money, and guess what? He don't like to talk, right? So now she's like, look, I like to go to I like to eat at nice restaurants. He's like, I like fancy restaurants too. She's like, well, how the hell would I know that?
Yeah.
You're not courting me to take me to a nice restaurant and things like that. So how do I supposed to know that? And what it looks and what it looks like to me is that because he's having conversations in his head, just because he's quiet in the house, especially from a man's POV, doesn't mean conversations is not being had. It's just not being had with you. But these conversations that he's having with himself, he's asking himself these questions and answering these questions himself. Now he's viewing Megan through a light that's not particularly hers.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Now it's making it seem like you have to, and I don't want to use the word humble her because I think that word is too strong. I don't think he's trying to humble her.
Like, bring her to reality.
But he's trying to bring her to reality, perfect, right? But the thing about it is she's living reality too. This is her reality is not any more real than yours, I think, or less real than yours, rather, right? Your reality is you work 10-hour days, right? To where potentially you don't probably make a lot of money. You got 1-bedroom apartment. I'm only going by what I see. You get what I'm saying? But maybe you're just good with numbers, especially when he's talking about crunching numbers. You know what I mean? Right? But obviously the reality is you are a father. You have your son sometimes or half the time, however you want to share it or whatever, things like that. And you be tired at the end of the day. Her reality is I played tennis today. I hung out with my friends today. I did a little work today. And some days she even explained that some weeks I have to fly out for work and things like that, weeks at a time. That is my reality. So now the thing about it is y'all need to talk about your realities, not Luca's reality, not your father's reality. Y'all need to talk about your realities and actually collaborate.
Cultivate a life that
where
you guys
both of y'all
can enjoy.
Can live in reality.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but they're having conversations, or rather he's having, because I put the onus on Jordan more. He's having conversations with himself that Megan did not factually actually say out her mouth.
But I think that with Jordan, that the way that he's describes like his lifestyle, I think it sounds like he's in grind mode. Yeah. Like he is working, trying to keep a roof over him and his kid's head. And it's, Groundhog Day, same thing every single day to just survive. And if you're in that type of like survival maintaining type of mode, then you're not thinking about frivolous activities, so to speak. And so I think that with Megan wanting to be courted and wanting them to enjoy their time together, Jordan can't even imagine of himself having possibly the time or the money to do that, because I'm trying to keep a roof over my head, so to speak. And I'm assuming, because I don't know anything about this guy. But I think that, like we said, you guys are coming from essentially two different worlds. And if you guys want this to work, then there has to be some type of real compromise on what can be done. And if he has to change his career path, or maybe if she has to invest into something that he can do to free up his time, if he's willing to accept that type of help, I mean, those are the types of conversations to have. So
they both need to have a come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
Right. To your point, when it comes to his mindset, is not even on that type of stuff because he's in grind mode. When you're in grind mode, the things that she's into can even come off as immature to you.
It can,
because you're like, who have time for fun?
Yeah,
she have time for fun. Like it just is what it is. And here's the thing about what you just said. There needs to be, because Megan, you got to take some responsibility too, right? When you went into them pods, and I understand you feel like it wasn't posturing, but I feel like it was posturing. When you went in that pods, basically talk about you're rich. You get what I'm saying? So you can get chosen. I understand that. That's no different than me coming up in there and saying I'm a doctor or I'm a surgeon. More times than not, I'm saying that so I can get chosen compared to everybody else. But nevertheless, when you went in there, basically talk about whatever car you got, you're sparkling Megan, and you got this money and things like that. You knew the guy that you was choosing was not going to be on your social status.
Right.
On your financial status when it came to Jordan. Right? He made it very clear that I'm not one of those guys. Right? So you cannot expect the best of both worlds. You get what I'm saying? That I get a guy that's humble, but at the same time he got free time all the time. No, most time you got a humble guy, he probably lives humbly too.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm like, I think y'all need to have a come to Jesus moment to where it's like, look, if you want me to be more involved in the house, I can't work 10-hour days. I could be a homemaker. Do you got a job? It gotta be one of those come to Jesus moments to where everybody got to put their egos down and be like, we doing this for love.
Yeah.
I still don't think she gonna say yes at the altar though. Cause every time I hear Sparkle Megan, it almost sounds like a billboard is being thrown in my face. So I don't think she gonna say yes nevertheless. Anything else?
That's all I got.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. And again, we are doing 10 content creators from YouTube that we are asking you to go just show love, subscribe to their page. And I think this week we said Joe and Czar. Make sure you show them love and subscribe to them, and we see y'all next time.
Bye.